Hey guys, so now we're going to be looking at some motion related questions for this video, especially or specifically in the context of speed, velocity and acceleration, the difference between speed and velocity, how velocity relates to acceleration, and then also the difference between scalar and vector quantities. It sounds like a lot, but it all relates quite closely, so it actually shouldn't take too long. I guess we can start. The difference between a scalar and vector quantity, right? A scalar quantity only has magnitude but no direction. And the perfect example is speed, right? So speed is a scalar quantity. So associate these two in your mind. Speed is scalar. It does not have a direction, only magnitude. Say 5 meters per second, right? Now, on the other hand, a vector quantity has magnitude plus direction. So you can think vector is like scalar, but it also needs direction, right? So velocity has magnitude. The same can be the same units of speed, could be meters per second, kilometers per hour, but it also has a direction, right? So, for example, a car travels at 60 kilometers an hour, speed, right? Because it's only got magnitude, there's no direction. The car travels at 60 kilometers per hour north. This is velocity, and it's a vector because we've got magnitude, kilometers per hour, and north, the direction. Now, here are two sort of formulas you've probably seen before. Speed is distance over time. As I said, the units are meters per second. Why? Why is it meters divided by second? Because distance is meters, could be hours. Sorry, distance could be meters or kilometers or millimeters or whatever, and time could be seconds. That's why it's meters per second in this case, or could be kilometers per hour. This one you'll see written as m meters per second, and there's a little -1. The mathematical reason is anything, so x to the power of -1 equals 1 over x, which the x goes on the bottom right, which is kind of why the x is on the bottom, the -1 there. Units are pretty simple, right? So, it could be meters per second, as I said, could be kilometers per hour, any unit where it's a distance over time. And there you can totally convert between units, right? A very classic question is meters per second to, say, meters per minute. What do you have to do there? Because there's 60 seconds in a minute, it's going to do 60 times the amount it is going to do per second. So you times, say if it was 10, you do timesing this by 60. And if it was doing 10 meters per second, then per minute, it's going to do 600 meters per minute. And there's a variety of sort of conversions like that, meters per minute. All right, now remember how I said velocity is a vector quantity because it's got magnitude and direction? Well, because acceleration has in it velocity, what's that probably going to make acceleration, right? Acceleration is therefore also a vector quantity because it's got magnitude and direction, right? So acceleration is similar. This is the change in velocity, which is always anything. Could be the change in temperature, could be the change in, it's always final minus initial, right? I just want you to notice that pattern that you'll see a lot in chemistry, in physics here, and a lot of different things. Change in whatever is always ending minus starting, right? And then we need time on the bottom. So that's, once again, kind of the time when it was stopped minus the initial time, right? But I just said time here. Now, we said velocity is meters per second with a direction, right? Therefore, acceleration is the change in velocity. So given meters per second is velocity, therefore velocity per second is acceleration, which is why it's meters per second, or meters per second squared, right? Or if we wanted to use this notation, which is, I think, a bit less common with acceleration, meters per second -2. Okay, cool. Well, caveats for acceleration. I mean, we can have the car accelerating, right? When someone puts the foot down the pedal and you feel that, you sort of go backwards, learn to inertia, a different concept. But acceleration can be negative or deceleration, right? Where you put your foot on the brake and suddenly you get jolted forward, a bit in the inertia. And if you think about what's happening there in terms of the equation, if the final velocity is less than the initial velocity, is going to be deceleration. Now, mathematically, let's just try to relate that. If I'm starting at 60 kilometers an hour and I finish at 30 kilometers an hour, we've gotten slower, right? So we've decelerated. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that going at a constant speed means no acceleration, which is true only if there's no change in direction, right? Because remember, acceleration is a vector quantity, so it also cares about direction. As I said here, what about going in a circle, right? If we're going, constantly in a circle, you see how we're changing the direction? We're always going, what is it? Right? Yeah. Sort of continuously changing the direction. So the actual question is, why does acceleration change if I'm going in a circle at a constant speed? Intuitively, before I even go to the answer, what do you feel when you turn a corner on a roundabout? You know how you get sent one way or the other way? Because there's a change in direction, right? And because of velocity or acceleration, like vector quantities that care about direction, it's going to actually change acceleration. So there'll be acceleration. So acceleration uses velocity in its calculation. Velocity cares about direction, therefore acceleration cares about direction. Turning in a circle changes the direction of motion, which causes acceleration, which is very interesting. So you can actually have acceleration even if you're at a constant speed, but you must have a changing direction, right? Cool. Those are the two couple caveats there where students might get a bit confused. Now, let's look at some questions. A train increases velocity, vector quantity, from 5 meters per second to 25 meters per second in 10 seconds to calculate the acceleration of the train. So I've done the answer here. I thought about my answer. It can be better. How can it be made better? The best students will just set all the working out so clearly for the marker to see, right? So a better response would have been initial equals 5 meters per second, final equals 25 meters per second, and then time equals minus equals final minus initial, which is 10 minus 0, which is just 0. Now, I've substituted those numbers straight into to this here. The best students, honestly, as well, will just even give this formula, and then write what the final initial time is, and then substitute it in. But it also does depend on the mark allocation, right? But if you've got the time, you should give the best answer possible. Then we simplify, and then kids will always forget the units. Just don't be stupid and forget the units. You need to, catch yourself when that happens, and sort of think about how you can ameliorate that essentially. Because a painful way to lose marks if you do all the hard work to get there. And then it's saying state whether the acceleration is positive or negative. In other words, is there acceleration or deceleration? Maybe this would just be a 1 mark where you can just state positive or negative. But if it's 2 marks, you must give reasoning, right? I've given reasoning in case, as final acceleration is greater than initial acceleration. Intuitively, we start at 30, we end at 60, but we accelerate it. All right, let's go one more question, a little bit more applied. A runner starts from rest. So we've got initial velocity and reaches a speed of 8 meters per second in 4 seconds. Seems we've got all the key things here, right? And I've given a better answer. We've given initial, final, and the time. 8 minus 0 over 4, final minus initial, 2 meters per second squared, right? Units. Now, calculate the distance traveled if the speed increases evenly. Okay? If the speed increases evenly, we can find the average sort of speed, right? So we want to find the average speed first, given there's uniform acceleration because the speed is increasing evenly. So you do 8 plus 0 divided by 2, which equals 4 meters per second, right? So that's the average speed that's been occurring. If we were to average the speed. And now, remember the first one we've got is speed is distance over time. What are we trying to get? We're trying to find the distance. So we need to rearrange that, right? So if we want to get distance by itself, time needs distance by itself. Time needs to go over this side, right? So it needs to be speed times time. Speed times time. These distance. 4 times 4, where have I got the 4 from? 4 seconds. And you get 16 meters traveled. All right, so those are two sort of general questions you might come across in these sort of motional physics related courses. So I mean, to sum up, keep in mind the caveats, right? Because acceleration and velocity are vector quantities, they care about direction. So acceleration can change even if the speed is constant. Why? Because we might be going in a circle, constantly changing direction, right? And then acceleration can be negative as well. All right, we'll finish up there. All good.